And there goes Peter Flanner already overtaking Andrew Korstecki up the hill. Whoa, in the back there is a slide off. I hope everyone's okay. No, they're not okay. There is some damage in the back of the field. There are people getting through it. No, they are not. That's AJ going through. There goes Eric Rodriguez side by side with Charles Lee. And that good wrench livery just ahead of him. Might try to make a move down the inside. Here he goes. And look at Jacob Simmons overtakes two of them down the main straight, down the inside on Will Coffey, and he makes that position stick, and he gets ahead. Inside line he goes, he snaps in there, and he makes it stick. Might have spoken too soon, but he's got the defensive line going to the next corner. And he's kept it on. We still don't know anyone else is going to have a better overcut. Whoa, and there goes Peter Flanner through. And look at that. Jacob Simmons is also making the move. Andrew Kirk loses 2 positions. And is this the moment he goes for? It is a start-straight finish. And there he goes, side by side. He's going to make it work. Steve McAllister not defending. And there he goes. Looks like he's going to try to go side by side into this next braking zone and make it stick. There he goes. And we've seen him on the outs of a battle. Nowhere to go. Drivers ahead of him. And Eric Rodriguez holding that position behind. And look at that. Tyler Finley goes through. And now he's going to be battling out Zachary Bright for position. Oh, no, he slots back in. And we are 2 by 2. Patrick Gannon trying to take the lead of the race already, and he goes for it. The top already, and there it was. The move is done. But P14, Eddie Layton in the Mercedes. Oh! Tyler Anderson going for the inside move. Ooh. Plenty of space is given, though. And that allows Tyler Anderson to go through. And Chad Nobles has been through. No, they are still side by side going into the next corner. And wow, they are very close, but still given enough room. But I don't think Angel is done just yet. They are going side by side into the next corner. Anderson wasn't done yet. Anderson retaking that position. And now look at that. Mathis, LePage is getting by. And they are now side by side. Is Mathis going to have this? And no, and look at that. Eddie Layton is about to overtake Mathis for this position. This is a heated battle here in the teens here. That's, very close margins, but Eddie Layton overtakes Mathis. Looks like he's going to have to be defending against Timothy Bray. And Timothy Bray on the outside. They still both have room. He goes way off. And Timothy Bray and Peter Flanner are battling it out. And Timothy Bray gets ahead on an outlap as well. Just before the braking zone. Peter Flanner was about half a second. Oh no! Oh no! Move into turn 2. Nope, he's slotted right next to him. Side by side they go. Nicholas Matchman gives him the space, and he goes through. Tyler Finley making the move. So Noah's going to have to go the long way around. Is he going to be able to maintain it? They go side by side, and that's perfect. He gets a great exit there from Noah, or from Andrew Korstecki. They're still side by side as it looks out. No, he's not side by side anymore. And just there in the background, you can see, they are still side by side. The camera plays tricks, and there he goes. Finally gets that car right in front, and P And welcome everybody to the BWRL GT3 Sprint Championship presented by ANSE3D Round 4 at Watkins, Glen. We're just stepping into qualifying just now, and I hope you guys like that intro video. It was done by Colin Luckhurst. And on board right now, we're with Justin F. Scott. He's the first driver to go out there and see what he can do. He's about to start his hot lap. And we'll jump on board and see what can happen here. Metalhead Andy, Team Matt Shack. Matt Shack in practice did have the fastest lap set with a 143. Everyone else was doing 144s. Again, he might be the only one that was actually trying to go for a super fast lap. It looked like a lot of drivers were going for race pace, trying to see what they can do overall. Andrew Kirk, how's it going? And the track layout is going to be with the boot. Interesting to see what Justin F. Scott can do. We have a lot of drivers on the grid, all trying to make a move for qualifying. It looked like there was a slight error exiting the pits. When everyone was starting their out lap, as everyone was going out, there's a little congestion and somebody spun their rears a little bit and went into a wall. Things like that will happen. Minor adjustments definitely would need to be made, but at least he did it right at the start of the pit lane. I mean, it's the best place to wreck your car. Vinny. And he's going to go through, and Andrew Korsecki's going to go through. Justin F. Scott with a 144.7. Trey Mistack in that pink Porsche. Trey Mistack? Just can't see the numbering there. It says 43, but definitely not the case. And there you go, Andrew Kirk, Matt Shack taking the top spot with the 143.8 right now. Trey Mistack is in P2, Joshua Grasso is in P3, Justin F. Scott goes to 4, Chris Chitterling goes to 5, Peter Flanner in the pit lane is not going to qualify again. Maybe he's going to just try to make an adjustment, but he's P6. Will Coffey is P7, Zachary Bryan is P8, Eric Rodriguez is P9, Brandon Renfro is P10, Chad Nobles is 11. AJ Candola is P13. Elliot Burton crosses the line and goes to P2. That drops a lot of people down a little bit. Anderson Baiano to P14. Nicholas Matcham to P15. D. McAllister to P16. And a driver to look out for, and I'm going to call it now. Richard Severa goes to P13. Tyler Finley to P8. Is Diego here? Still not convinced of this one. He is not on an out lap, but his last lap did not count. Must have had a issue track limits. But he was P2 in practice, so I can foresee him making some adjustments. Andrew Korsecki, I believe he's still P1 in the amateur class rankings right now. He's P8, Will Coffey to P9. Andrew Lewis goes P3. Charles Whedon to P22. Zachary Bryant went up a couple positions. if I had to guess, do we have Nick Janney, car number 43, is about to cross the line and possibly be able to set a time. There we go. A little bit of a mix-up there. Nope, does not set a time. Okay. Wrong on that one. Steve McAllister goes up one position. Diego is about to cross the line, and it'll be interesting to see where he gets up. If he was within track limits here, he should get a time, and there he goes. P2 with a 144.4. He's actually tied Elliott Burton. Wow, there's some traffic coming up here, and some very interesting traffic. 3 drivers out on their outlap there. Diego's still pushing. And we have Nick Janney out there on an outlap. Eddie Layton is not. But he's going to be finishing up his lap, and he is a driver that has not set a time on the board yet. We have a lot of drivers that have not set a time on the board. Joshua Grasso goes to P5, overtake Trey Mistack. What position there? And Eddie Layton goes through. He goes to P12. Brett. The driver behind him is Brett DeGiacomo. Really, some new interesting names coming to the grid. Brett, I'm sorry about not being able to say that last name. DeGiacomo. It was last attempt at that one. We have Reginaldo Rossi Seguin. That's a hard one too. Car number 109 is still in the pits. It looked like he's actually trying to do something on the grid, but my delta's all wrong there. Trey Mistack is 1.9 seconds faster on this lap, and that 1.9 or 2.1 actually could be the makings of a real strong contender for the top of the front row, as it is. If he maintains this, he's 2.4 seconds faster. He did a 144.4. Track limits entirely on that one. There's no doubt this is all going to get erased. If it doesn't, I'll be surprised. I thought that was clearly over the lines there. And no movement from him, so I guess that was unfortunate. He was really on a flyer there. Really something else. Noah Hodgkinson in P7. And Peter Flanner. He's a contender for the championship right here is Peter Flanner. He's in the top 3. And he's sitting in the pits only having set 1 lap. That is something else. And where is Diego? Diego is in Sector 3. It's a little bit off of his delta, but not by much. You got to remember, Matt Shack did a 143.6. It's almost a full second faster than what Ooh, whoa. Oh. Well, you miss all the shots you don't take, right? That was, something. Trey Mistack. Way offline. I think you can still make it in there at that. I think there's some leeway with that track limits violation. I don't think that he was getting track limits there, but he is 1.4 seconds faster on this, this lap. And if he stays and maintains this, it's definitely going to get to at least the second row. Maybe even possibly the top. I gotta imagine 1 second. Elliott Burton crosses the line to go P2. And Trey Mistack, while he did go faster, another unfortunate track limits violation, it seems like, because he was on a flyer. 1.4 seconds faster would have put him right there at the top. P1. As Will Coffee crosses the line, he improves two positions to go P13. Actually goes down one. Nick Janey got ahead of him. And that is it. That is the results. Let me just pull through that for you. Matt Shack P1, Elliot Burton P2, Diego P3, Andrew Lewis P4, Joshua Grosso P5, Trey Masek is 6, Noah Hawkinson 7, Chris Cheerling is 8, Justin F. Scott is 9, Peter Flanner P10, Andrew Korstecki in P11, Eddie Layton in P12, Nick Janey in 13, Will Coffey in 14, Tyler Finley in 15, Zachary Bryant is in 16th, Eric Rodriguez in 17th, Chad Nobles in 18, 19 is Anderson Bayano, Brandon Renfro in P20, Charles Whedon in P21, Richard Severa in P22, AJ Condola in P23, Steve McAllister in 24, Brett Diacomo in 25. Sorry about that one. 26 is Nicholas Matcham. Gary Schilling is P27. And after P27, while it says it on the grid, we got Ronaldo Rossi Segundo, 28. Chris Lambeth is 29. Tyler Anderson is 30. Ryan Avila is 31. And Austin McGill is 32. That is a lot. And just a few moments, we'll be 1 minute away from the race start, if not before that, when every driver has gone to the grid. We have 6, 7, 8 drivers that still have not hit race. And it looks like somebody's a little excited, flashing their lights at the duo there. I believe that's Joshua Grosso and Chris Chidley? Justin F. Scott, maybe? And a couple corners. The start tray finish and getting this all green. Might feel slightly chaotic just at the start here as they're about to go green, green, green. Andrew Lewis is going to be taking that run to Diego and already overtake him. Hopefully no one sends it too hard into turn 1 as we have a lot of people going through this. Still clean. Somebody went wide, but it is all good. Matt Shack in the comfortable lead for just a second, but there goes Elliot Burton into the bus stop. No, they slot back in, and he takes that pretty well. Andrew Lewis stays ahead of Diego. And there goes Peter Flanner up already 2 positions off the start, but Andrew Korstecki following just behind. They have both made up quite a few amount of positions. Chris Chitterling or Justin F. Scott are battling back there. This is the what looks to be like Chad Nobles and Anderson Baiano look to be fighting a little bit back there. But you get closer, it looks like they're giving themselves a lot of space. As Will Coffey and Nick Janey, ooh, those two are coming right close together. As he is now just buckled in there on the outside. Oh, is he going to be able to slot back in? Nick Janey keeps his position against Chris Chitterling. And back at the front, the grid has not changed. Matt Shack actually has a little bit of a comfortable lead there with a full second to Elliott Burton with Andrew Lewis. That's a little bit of a pack forming here of Joshua Grasso behind him in that teal Porsche. No, it's Diego in the black and gold, and then Joshua Grasso in P5 in that teal Porsche, and Trey Mistack just behind in that pink Porsche with his teammate Noah Hodgkinson just behind as well. Be interesting to see which driver actually makes the first move out of the top 7, with Peter Flanner and Andrew Korsecki following just behind. You can see the grid is actually expanded just a little bit out of the top 10. You have P9 of Andrew Korsecki, and then Will Coffey is just ahead of what is a massive train of cars. And look it, there goes Chris Chitterling, tries to get a little bit aggressive to go onto the inside line, but just not even slightly close enough to make a move there out of that corner. And when I said things were clean, I really meant it. We have not had a accident that has caused someone to exit this race. Every driver on the grid is racing for position. Oh, I might have spoken too soon. Oh, I think I spoke too soon. Let's pull this back a little bit and see what happened. Eddie Layton gets a little on the... Oh. All on his own. Oh, no. He got a couple people with that one. Ah, that's unfortunate. Yikes. Oh! And then there goes one more. And that is a extremely damaged back end there. And looks like we are 3 wide. Or 2 wide. Close. Perspective is everything. Somebody gets a little unshaken there. Car number 69 of Justin F. Scott. And then that makes Richard Sever have to go a little bit wide there. Oh, that's a little bit of love tap right there. And behind is Anderson Baiano getting a little send from Richard Sedra. That's just a tiny tap. I definitely cursed this too soon. Eric Rodriguez and Justin F. Scott battling for P13. Oh, actually for P9. And there goes Eric Rodriguez trying to make the move stick. Looks like he's going to try to... Ooh! Seeing a little bit of a love tap. But he's going to slot back in. Let him keep the position. But before I spoke last lap, this was a very clean race. You know, some people made some mistakes, but... And Diego... Oh, no. Diego's in P19. Oh, let's pull back. Nope, this car was still broken then. Oh. Andrew Lewis and him came together. Oh, there goes Trey Mistack. There goes... Oh, no, that goes a lot of those drivers. Andrew Lewis is completely dead in the water, and more died after that. Well, folks, when it rains, it pours, and this commentator did not curse the grid to make these incidents occur. That's makes things spicy, though. The good news here is Peter Flanner, starting 10th in the grid, is in the top 3 in the championship in the pro class. He's sitting behind, I think, Elliot Burton, for just points, and Elliot Burton right now is just ahead of him in P2, with Joshua Grosso just between these two drivers. Great maximize points out of Peter Flanner if he can hold this together. That's from starting from 10 to getting into the top 3. Sure, a lot of people had to die for this to happen, but it happened nonetheless, and Andrew Korostecki, the class leader for the AM class standings, he's P1 in that standings, and he is really proving he should be in the pro class right now, because he is keeping up with Peter Flanner spot for spot. Chris Chitterling, Will Coffey, going for it. Let's take a look at this one more time. Gets a good run on him just before the bus stop, gets the inside line, and there he goes. Chris Chitterling taking P6 from Will Coffey and holding it. Just give you a little bit of perspective. We got Matt Shack here in P1 with Trey Mistack in P26 just in front of him on an out lap. His car was sizably damaged in that incursion from the last couple laps. A driver who was sitting in the top 7, Trey Mistack, now just in front of the class, or the grid leader, as it is. It's unfortunate. And he's got a 1.9 second gap to P2, Elliot Burton, with Joshua Grosso, who was the one that was really unscathed in that incident. You can see he doesn't even have damage. And his teammate, not so lucky, into the wall he went. You can't say much more than that. You hate to see it, folks. And Anderson Baiano made a little spin. Reginaldo Rossi Segundo. I think I said that better this time. Maximizing some points here. He started P28 on the grid, and he's now P17. So definitely good on him. AJ Kendola and Zachary Bryant are battling with Brett DeGaia Cuomo. I'm not sure. Chris Lambeth in P15 after overtaking Brandon Refo and making him time from the airport for this race. So he has his priorities set on straight. Andrew Korostecki is already into the pit lane from P6, and I'm not entirely sure as to why. If this is a hit for gas to the end of the race, this is quite possibly the most insane undercut I could possibly think of. Here's AJ Condola on the outside of Zachary Bryant. Is he able to make something happen? No, he is not. But just behind him, Brett loses a position to Chris Lambeth, overtaking him in the bus stop. And now is Brandon Renfro going to try to have a go at him? Andrew Korostecki is back out on the grid, or back out on the track, and he was P4. P4. Now he's P21. Everyone's been on the stint is eight laps from from Matt Shack down to P5 of Chris Chitterling. Everyone else is about to be crossing the line to get that 8 laps of a stint in. But we have 25 laps total, and that is just the most interesting thing that could happen. I'm wondering if that's going to play off for him. That's quite something. Anderson Baiano on an outlap. His lap traffic, he's P26, with AJ Condola going ahead of him on the inside that red Ferrari. And is Chris Lambeth going to be able to get ahead as well before the bus stop? He is. It's going to give him a little bit of breather, as it's going to take Brett another couple corners to make a move. And is Chris Lambeth going to try to attack AJ Condola so quickly? He's already right there on him. 0.2 of a difference separating these drivers. AJ takes the inside line, quite possibly a defensive line. We won't truly know what his motivations are from this given angle. But no, he is not going defensive. Ooh. Slight difference in their braking, but not enough for Chris Lambeth to make a move there. Let's gonna pull this back slightly. It looks like something happened here. Joshua Grosso is P3 at this time. Elliot Burton was P2. Oh. Ooh. And now we know why. He's still P3 with Peter Flanner 2 seconds ahead of him, and Chris Chitterling, who's clawed his way out of the teens and into P5. Andrew Korostecki, all the way in the back of the grid here, has gone to P19 already. Whoa! He's completely missed the bus stop. That looked like there was a little bit of too close to make a move. Missed his braking marker there. That's going to be Gary Schilling or Steve McAllister actually, in that blue Porsche ahead of him. That's going to keep that position for now. Who knows if that was part of the plan? Well, this is going to be one of those moves we won't know for another, like, I'd say 3 to 5 laps to know if Andrew Korostecki's undercut was going to be like this massive success, or if he had something else, maybe underfueled, had quali, like a quali setup on his car. And 5.2, 5.3 seconds separates Matt Shack from Joshua Grosso in P2 to P1. Elliott Burton's 9.8 seconds back. His car doesn't look too out of shape for what it's worth. And Peter Flanner is still only 2 seconds back, so no aero damage is really causing a difference between these two drivers. That said, I hope he is able to maintain that, as Chris Lambeth is still sitting behind AJ Condola. Probably looking to make a move. And here he goes. Holds a really tight corner. Keeping that together. Overtake's done. It's just a matter of if he can keep it ahead. And it looks like he's getting a little bit of a breather from HA. And now, who's the next driver in this pack to make a move? It looks like it's going to be Brendan Renfro down the inside line. Little difference in how they enter that corner. It's going to make all the difference exiting it. Giving a spot to Anderson. Baiano is actually a lap down. And that is the orange BMW you see behind. Oh, and Brett goes way off. Now looking at Chris Chitterling, I'm kind of curious. He started P8. He's P5 now. Not much of a difference. He was dropped back for some reason into, I think, 10th, 11th, or 12th off the start. So he might have been swallowed up, but definitely has regained and made some progress here. Definitely saw him in the scrap of it at like P11, I believe, off of like lap 2. I'd be wrong on that one. He's 3/10 off of Peter Flanner. Be interesting to see if he's going to be able to make anything happen out of this. Peter Flanner goes a little bit wider there. Now the Ferrari versus Mercedes down the start straight finish. Who's going to make a better exit? And I really want to think that was Peter Flanner there. He just looks like he just rocket ships away. Elliott Burton is entering the pit lane. Ooh, and you can see Lewis's car there is just smoked. Andrew Lewis. As unfortunate. Now, Andrew Korostecki was super close to the top 2 drivers on the grid when he did make this pit stop. This is actually where it's going to be interesting now. Is he going to actually make up a lot off of this, considering he did pit early? Now looking at Elliott Burton. Elliott Burton is back on track, and he's already up into the S's. And Andrew Korostecki is about 13 seconds back. I don't think that's going to work out for Andrew there. Even so, I think he's going to lose a few positions, but in the end, I think he's not. I think he's going to make out better than where he started on the grid. which was P11. Hey, look at that. I remember. And here's Brett. Looking 2/10 back on AJ Candola. Whoa! And AJ has touched the wall. We'll take those, Brett says. We'll take those as he makes up position for driver error. And there he goes to P11 at the moment. The relative is a little off. Doesn't get updated that much correctly, I should say. Ooh. AJ Candola goes into the pit lane, or into the, yeah, so he's going to lose a couple positions there. Elliot Burton retaking a spot. P14. Diego is into P15. This is actually not a bad result for Diego. He did pit really early, just wondering if he has the gas, the fuel to get to the end of the race. And there is Andrew Gorstecki, and Will has not... No, Will just exited the pit lane 1 lap ago, so... I'm remembering correctly, yeah, maybe like P8, P9 for Andrew Gorstecki after this race is over. That's what he's shooting for. And Chris Schitterling finally closes the gap to where it is bumper to bumper through the cornering. See how much of a gap pulls in the high speeds. Almost nothing. He's keeping together. If he keeps a tight line exiting, gets a good draft, he might be able to finally make the move. It's not much of a slingshot anymore. No, he's going to follow him into turn 1. I don't think it looked like the move was on just a few moments ago. Definitely the angle, but it always looks like he's just slightly off, getting completely tucked in behind Peter Flanner. But Chitterling right now is showing some great resolve. He's holding in corner by corner, really keeping that gap minimized, still in 2/10 back off of Peter Flanner, and holding a good tight line through the exits, trying to maximize. And this is where he got him last time on last lap. He really got in close. They were 1/10 separated, almost bumper to bumper. And where's he going to lose him? He's still following him through that. And there's that slingshot effect, as now he's 3/10 back on Peter Flanner. Might be just a better third sector for Peter on that one. As you can see again, that 3/10 makes all the difference down the straight finish. We have Nick Janey and Trey Missack getting awfully close to each other. Separated by 3/10. Battling for P24. And more drivers have gone into the pit lane. Brandon Renfro, Reginaldo, and Will Coffey stays out. He's going to go to P13. Andrew Korostecki is going to be picking up a lot of places. P14. Chad Nobles. Let's pull out and see that again. It's Chad Nobles making a move. Car number 67 off of Gary Schilling in the green Mercedes. And Diego here trying to make a move off of Gary Schilling. His car looks like it was repaired slightly, and that front end was way different. Oh, and look at that. He takes the outside and he keeps it. Gary Schilling losing another position, and that is P22 for Diego. Peter Flanner stays out. Matt Shack is in. Joshua Grasso is in. Chris Chitterling has gone into the pit lane. Justin F. Scott is going into the pit lane. Eric Rodriguez in. Tyler Finley is in. Richard Sedra looks like he's going in. Chris Lambeth also going in. Brett has gone in. Zachary Bryant stays out. Now what's going to be interesting is where's Elliot Burton? He was P3. He should make out just ahead of Chris Chitterling and Peter Flanner. We won't know that because only one of them pit. Joshua Gross is already up to the bus stop. Elliot Burton into the S's now with Chris Chitterling behind him. I think this might bode well for Elliot Burton. Is Chitterling was 0.2 off, and he's got a full second almost. He's at 1.1 seconds to Elliot Burton, so it's going to be quite the run here for Peter Flanner. Like, is he going to have a maximized overcut here? Difficult to say. It will be interesting to see what happens here. He's going in right now. Is he going to have a great pit stop? If so, he's going to get ahead of Elliot Burton for P3. If not, he might just be sandwiched between these two, or even worse, doesn't even get close to either one of them. I foresee that he's going to be just exiting between these two. And he's still not there, but Matt Shack is crossing the line, and of course, taking that P1 back with a little bit of ease there is also Joshua Grasso also going ahead, taking back P2, and Elliot Burton is still in the pits. But where is Elliot Burton? Cross the line. He goes. Chris Chitterling is crossing the line as well. Peter Flanner is exiting the pit lane. Is it enough? He is really close. Elliot Burton is out. Chris Chitterling, the undercut works, and he goes through. Don't have to make a move on track if you do it at the pit stop, and there goes Chris Chitterling. The undercut worked for him. Peter Flanner has dropped down to P5. And race strategy sometimes just works. Wow. Andrew Gorstecki is just behind Justin F. Scott. P9, 8 and 9 here. And it was a bit of a mystery as to why Andrew Gorstecki had him hit so early in the race. It's still up for debate on whether or not he has enough fuel to go to the end of this race, because he pit on lap 7. And if he does, I guess that's all right. There's no other cars ahead of him that are going to be pitting. His teammate, Eric Rodriguez, is just behind in P10. It's going to be some good points for the team. Richard Sedra and Zachary Bryant, different change. Zachary Bryant went for the overcut. He's P11 right now with Richard Sedra ahead of him. I'm not sure if Zachary and on track where this driver was. P16. So he's made up 5 positions. So good on Zachary. Tyler Finley almost in a race of his own right now with a 2.6 second gap in front and 2.2 behind him with Chris Lambeth. Not the first time we've seen this good wrench car. As Tyler Finley has put in some good work the last couple races. And Chris Lambeth sitting in P13, which looked like he had a battle on his hands, but that's Anderson Baiano behind in P26. Reginaldo Rossi Segundo? I think it's Segundo. P15 and 16 here is AJ Condola and him battling it out. AJ ahead in the red. Ooh, looking down the inside line. He goes for it and keeps it. AJ has to let off a little bit so that they didn't come in contact, but he made the move. Now there's Brandon Renfro. Was on the outside. Now got the inside. And he's going to go through. Possibly. No, I think AJ is going to hold down that inside line against, there he goes. He keeps it off of Brandon Renfro, but what a move Brandon Renfro was trying to make. But all that does, some of these battles, just pulls in your competitor closer. Going for an attack like that. Now Eddie Layton is now just separated off this little battle by 2/10. Definitely be looking to pick up the scraps, whatever happens here. And not even getting in the draft. Brandon's just going straight for the inside line. Maybe try to outbrake him. It really cost you dearly on that exit, though. But not enough to where Eddie Layton has made progress against Brandon. And there goes AJ looking to be a little bit more defensive, but slots back in. There's Zachary Bryant and Richard Sedra going into the S's side by side. Richard Sedra in the OnlyFans BMW. And Zachary Bryant stays ahead of Richard Sedra for P10. Oh, actually, that was a full-on overtake. And the battle between these three still plays out. Looks like Eddie Layton's costing himself a good entry. Ooh, but that's a great exit. And Diego, we're getting awfully close to this battle. And it looks like he's about to be strikingly ahead of Eddie Layton, taking the outside. Now gets the inside line. Is Diego going to be able to take a position? It's done already. That's P18 for Diego. And for some that may not have caught it earlier, Diego had a bit of a contact with another driver going into exiting turn 1. Kind of a rippling effect for the rest of the top 10 of the grid. Definitely a change of to the order because of that. Even so, I mean, his car looked so badly damaged, but it looks like there's like a full-on repair that happened. And that is AJ Condola staying defensive, as well as, ooh, Brandon Renfro trying to make a defensive move. Eddie Layton looking keen on fighting back against Diego. Looks like he has the inside line now. And goes through. Oh. Great move by Eddie Layton to retake his position against Diego. And Chris Chitterling and Elliot Burton are separated by 1/10. With Peter Flanner 1.3 seconds back. Diego and Eddie Layton are still going at it. They were side by side through a couple corners. Eddie Layton has stayed ahead. But this fight is definitely not over. And we'll get back to that. Oh, Eddie Layton and Brandon Renfro about to go side by side here. And Brandon is taking the defensive line. Oh, and he gets overtaken into the bus stop. Not like he was allowing that him to go through, but he opened the door like that. Just like that, there goes Diego making a similar move. And wow, at the same time, Eddie Layton makes a move off of AJ Condola. And now he's just out of this and into the front of it. Maybe we're going to see Eddie Layton try to pull away from this. And there goes Diego down the inside line of AJ. Oh, he's just going to slot in and... Oh, that... And these four drivers have definitely been keeping the race exciting here in the P16 through P19. And he is on the back of his bumper almost. Is Diego going to try to make a move into turn one? There he goes for it. Does he have it, though? A little late on the brakes. Keeps it together, and he goes through. That's P17 for Diego. And AJ Condola was sitting ahead of all these drivers, and now has just been swallowed up by some good moves. Really attacking the curbs there. Chris Chitterling is separated by 2/10 off of Elliot Burton for P3. We have 3, maybe 4 laps left remaining in this race. And I just haven't seen much of a difference out of these two drivers. Since the last time we were looking at him, Chris Chitterling will get right there on the back. Andrew Korsecki is going into the pit lane again. That is truly unfortunate. He must have hit the limit of his fuel. And you hate to see it. And he will only lose a handful of positions as he, from P9, drops down to P14. It's actually not that far off, but Brandon Renfro goes down the inside line and overtakes AJ Condola down into turn one. Is he going to be able to hold it off in the S's and into the bus stop? That Ferrari is quite powerful, straight line speed. And he does. Just like that, Brandon Renfro's going to keep ahead by 4/10. And with Matt Shack is ahead, he's going to take one more lap for sure. So this battle will go on for 2 full laps. Oh! Oh, oh. Oh, now he just needs to get his head back in the game. Yeah, it looks like he's just firing up those rears. He's got 6 seconds, 7 seconds close to the guy behind him in P6 of Will Coffey. Peter Flanner goes through as it is in P4. He's separated by 2.3 seconds. Yikes. You hate to see it with only 2 laps remaining, but just a slight amount of focus that's lost. That's all it takes sometimes. Or, yeah, it could have been anything. And we're just going to go on board for a couple seconds here as we definitely just look to see that flag is waving. It is not. That is really bizarre. Looks like they're going to be doing another full lap. I would take it. Chris Lambeth and Richard Sevra are still battling out here. Sevra is P11. Chris Lambeth is P12. And separated by 1/10. I think Chris Lambeth is looking to make a move. Possibly into turn 1. Just got to focus on getting a good exit into the start straight finish. The penultimate corner. And that's all that's going to matter here. And look at him. He's already going for it. I don't need the draft. I'm just going to stick it right there. And Chris Lambeth is going to take that inside line into turn 1. And he's going to break a little later. But if he keeps it together with the good exit, he can hold this. Oh, it looks like Richard Severa's all over the back, though. Can he keep it together? These drivers are pound for pound just pulling in the same type of laps. And there goes Richard Severa on the outside and overtakes him on the straight before they even get to the bus stop. That's something we haven't seen out of some of the other drivers. And this will be the final lap, I believe. Burton popping on. We'll take a little roll bar here. And that is the white flag being waved. And this is the last lap. Chris Lambeth and Richard Severa are still battling out P11 with 1 lap remaining between these two. And we're going to hop back on board with that in just a second. Just kind of looking to make sure I can see where the final bit of the race is. Darts down to the inside line, goes for it again. He's going to get the braking on this, but it's going to be difficult to say. That straight line speed was all Richard needed going into the next bit here. Pulling to the inside line. Ooh, they almost come together, but that is some great racecraft from both drivers. And Richard Severa keeps ahead. Matt Check crosses the line for P1. Joshua Grosso, photo finish for him in P2. Elliot Burton is going to take this last spot on the podium. P3 for Elliot Burton. Peter Flanner is going to take P4. Chris Chitterling is going to take P5. Will Coffey, with no one around him, is going to take P6. Justin F. Scott is going to take P7. Eric Rodriguez, no one around him. It's going to be P8. Zachary Bryant definitely going to hold P9 against Tyler Finley. Just a couple more corners to go out of these two. Richard Sedefra and Chris Lambert been battling for the last like 10 laps. It's been fair. He goes to the inside. Who's going to keep it? This is really in contention for whether or not Richard can hold on to it, but he's definitely held this together. And down in the end, who's going to get it off the line? So close to the line. Oh, Chris Lambert wins against him. Not wins the race, but that's P11 for Chris Lambert across the finish line. Wow, Richard Severa goes to P12. Andrew Gorsecki takes P13. Brett DiGiacomo takes P14. I said that wrong. Ronaldo Rossi Seguendo, I can't say that one. P15 for him. Diego P16. Brandon Renfro in P17. AJ Candola in 18. Charles Whedon in 19. Nick Janey in 20. Trey Mistak in 21. Steve McAllister in 22. Eddie Layton in 23. Anderson Baiano in 24. Chad Nobles in 25. Kerry Schilling 26, Nicholas Matcham in 27, Andrew Lewis in 28, Noah Hodgkinson in 29. The other drivers did not start the race, but they did enter the race. What a fantastic finish. Matt Shack wins by 4.9 seconds, and with Elliot Burton about 20.9 seconds back in P3. That's quite the finish for Matt Shack. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, to follow us, join the Discord. We have races on Tuesdays as well, Tuesdays. That's the multi-class racing, and as well, you can come back next Sunday, and we'll be back on for the GT3 Championship. Thanks again.